And I could probably talk about both of these all day long, but we'll try to keep it concise. The two-story view of work, like a two-story building, right, divides life into sacred and secular categories. So like, being a minister, like Bruce, love it, got to do it. He's like the greatest job, Then there's, people who are teachers and nurses and doctors, and they help people all the time. And then at the bottom row, you got, the businessman, the government workers, heaven help us, and they're just not important at all. And so sacred and secular, it's based on 4 assumptions. It's a very common belief among Christians, believe it or not, but it's not biblical. It's a belief that the only part of life that really counts to God is the part committed to religious activities. And so it's based on 4 assumptions. God is more interested in the soul than the body. But God created man as a soul-body unity. Both are important. The things of eternity are more important than things of time. Well, yeah, one lasts longer, but time is where we live now. Both are important to God. He does things in time. Life divides into 2 categories, sacred and secular, but all of life is sacred to God. That's kind of a deep one. And then because of the nature of their work, ministers and other clergy are more important to God's program than the laity. But all who work are necessary. So if there weren't people that work, we couldn't donate to support the people that work in church and missionaries anyway. So there are some scriptural bases for some of this stuff. Genesis 2:7 talks about God breathing in man. He's a soul-body unity. He wasn't just a soul. His body's important. You think about Jesus coming as a body, as a human being. And in 1 Corinthians 15, it talks about our being resurrected. So we're not just going to be, we'll talk about this next week, about eternity. We're not just going to be like angels on a cloud, playing harps and stuff. We actually have resurrection bodies, which will be cool, because it won't have any broken teeth or anything like that. So here's a statement that's kind of long from Sherman and Hendricks. They conclude what really matters to God is that the various needs of his creation be met. One of those needs is the salvation of people, and for that he sent Christ to die, and he sends the church to tell the world about what Christ did. But in addition to salvation, obviously a need with eternal implications, mankind has other needs. Just because many of them are temporal doesn't diminish their importance to God, nor does it diminish the value of the work done to meet those needs. In fact, God thinks they're important enough to equip a variety of people with various abilities to meet those needs. Furthermore, in meeting the legitimate needs of people, a worker is serving people who obviously have eternal value. In other words, a product of the work might be temporal, but those who benefit from the work are eternal. So we find that whether or not the product of our labor lasts into eternity, our labor is full of eternal implications. So you wrap your mind around that, and you can feel happy about doing military instead of ministry, which is what I did for the last 29 years.